Our world is filled with people who have some super powerful addictions. Are you one of them? And do you even recognize it? Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Baxter Cribbs of BaxterCribbs.com, and the question I have for you today is, are you an addict? Now, before we get into answering that question, I'd like to ask a special favor of you, if you would, that down at the bottom side of this here video here, there is a little red button that says subscribe. If you would, please go ahead and click that right now so you can be subscribed to this channel, because I'm going to try to give you content each and every day that's going to help you in your mindset and in your marketing, and I wouldn't want you to miss one issue of it. Thank you very much. Now, let us continue on here. You know, whenever people hear the word addiction or addict, the very first thing that pops in their mind, okay, is probably, and I say probably because I'm assuming most people would do this, is that you have this vision of somebody that you know, that you have been associated with, that are on an addiction or a drug addiction of some sort, no doubt. Am I right? I'm pretty sure that most of the time that's really what we think about. But and several people come to my mind in the very way that doing this here, it runs off this little trail of some people that I know. For one, a carpenter guy, a young man, got caught up in some stuff, went to dry out clinics several times, 3 or 4 times that he went off trying to get himself cleaned up, get his act together. He lost his job. He lost his family. He lost the trailer that he lived in. He lost, and his family, his parents, even cut him off of supplying him goods when he was back out, or after he had gotten out and had then fell off the wagon again. And they was hoping that cutting off of him would help him to come realize where he was at. That was a little bit of tough love there. Another time I met a lady, ran up with a lady that I hadn't seen in some time, and I asked her about her husband, and she said, well, you know, he got all tangled up with this and this and this over here, and it ended up I had to get a divorce from him, and we're separated. I even had to buy back the house we lived in so I would have a place to live, and he's off over here in such and such city chasing after drugs. He wouldn't even try to clean himself up. Those are the kind of people that usually comes into our mind whenever we hear those words, addict or an addiction. But I want to change that focus here just a little bit for us today. I want us to think about a digital addiction, okay? And I want to give the credit now to Darren Hardy and his research team, because they're the ones that I got this information from, and they've done a very good job at presenting it and so forth. So Darren Hardy is the maker of this. But I want to show you how, so just a few of the facts, how addicted we are. And I say we, I have some faults as well. When I started studying this, I realized this is where I was at in some things, and I began my journey of changing things and getting things right. And so here's what we want to hear, and I'm going to read a little bit to you because I'm not read, but the fact is that the average teenager exchanges 4,000 texts a month. That's one every 6 minutes that they are awake. Teenagers do that now. And grown-ups are not, excluded from this thing here, because this is just teenagers that we see doing text here. But 53% of adults, that's the answer to the survey, report checking email while they're driving. Now, in our state, that's against the law. In the state of Georgia, we have a hands-free law. You're not allowed to check any of those things while you're driving. But when you're checking your email while you're driving, you are actually in a cognitive state where you are higher or your brain function is worse off than if you had just failed. I'll get it right in a minute. If you had just failed a sobriety test, being pulled over by an officer. Checking your email while you're doing that, or texting, causes that. You're just worse off than being drunk when you're doing that, because we see it all the time. You ride down the road and you'll see somebody swerving and pulling over and going over here, and you see hand motions and stuff through the car, and you get along beside them and they're not drunk. No, they're checking their texts, checking their email, checking their Facebook while they're driving down the road at 50 and 60 and 70 miles an hour, my friends. Can't do that. That's an addiction. That is an addiction. It really is. Okay, 61% said they continue to check their emails while they're on vacation. Do we understand what vacation means? Vacate, that's the idea. Get away from these things. 61% continue to check them while they're on vacation. One study showed that office workers check email up to 40 times per hour. 40 times per hour. If it took a minute to check your email, then what did they get? Maybe 20 minutes production during that hour? And the answer is going to be no, they didn't get any, because here's the fact that once you are dragged into that email and away from the task at hand, it takes you not only that minute that you've wasted to check that, or a minute and a half, or whatever it might be, but then it takes you 23 and a half minutes to get back into that state. So basically, they've lost a whole hour. And if they do that throughout the day, you have a non-productive day all day long. That's an addiction. That is an addiction, my friends. 67% of people check their phone for messages, alerts, or calls, even when they didn't notice their phone ringing or buzzing or vibrating. They were looking for something that didn't even happen. Think about that. 75% admit to using their phones in the bathroom of doing something, whatever, looking at it. 30% say they would never go to the bathroom without it. And as Darren said, if there's ever a reason not to touch anybody else's cell phone, that's it right there, my friends. That's it right there. Okay? That's it. These are some facts. Now, these are real facts here. Let me show you how real and how dangerous this is, okay? Texting is nearly as dangerous as while walking as driving. 1,152 pedestrians treated in emergency rooms. Sitting on people, walking off cliffs, walking in manholes, walking out in traffic. Here's what else happened from this, and contributing to the factor for 4,280 fatalities. People were killed because of this addiction. Over 4,000 people killed because of this digital addiction that I'm talking to you about here this evening. Now, how do you know that you're one? Well, you're probably a part of that percentage here, but there's a little checklist here. I only want to share a couple of things with you off of it that you can ask yourself here. It's a whole list of stuff that that I got from Darren Hardy, but just to share a few things and make this a short video here this evening. Here, I checked off a few things to check off yourself off this list to see if you have an addiction. If you have to wait in line for more than 2 minutes, do you often pull out your smartphone? You're talking about you get to the grocery store and there's a line of people there and you're standing and you're waiting and you're going, okay, oh, let me check my phone. Pop it right out. We think nothing of it. Take it right out. If you're waiting at a stoplight that looks like it will be red for more than 30 seconds, do you often pull out your smartphone? 30 seconds. You can't even wait 30 seconds. We got to pull it out. And in our state, the laws that just came out, just came in real in July the 1st here. They announced it on the radio for over a month. And I still, as I drive down the road, I see people with their cell phones up to their head and their hands looking at these things here. But this is what, now this is, it says, be read for 30 seconds. And I've often said, you know, that we live in a microwave world. We can have things in a minute, but we want it in 30 seconds. And this smartphone is so addicting that in that little 30 seconds, that our state of Georgia says now you cannot even check it at a red light. This is how they've recognized how bad it's become, that if you do that, you're addicted. Does your spouse or kids text you within your house to get your attention? That's for real. We're on the phone more so and texting other people that we don't even pay attention to what's going on with our children, with our spouses. When we go out to dinner, when we're having this across the road here. One time I visited some people, and he was telling me about that they were sitting, him and his wife and his son and daughter, and his girlfriend was sitting in the same room watching a movie. And instead of these two talking to one another, the son and the girlfriend, they were texting one another, sitting side by side, texting one another, not talking, texting. Do you often log into Facebook when you're out socially with others? Here you are, you have people out in front of you that you can talk to, you can touch, you can feel, smell, and do things with live, and you log into your Facebook? Does that even make sense? No, does not. Here's another. Do you spend more time on Facebook than you do in the presence of actual people? And that's really what Facebook wants, as I've talked about in another video. They really want you stuck on Facebook using their app, and they have created it in such a way that it makes you addicted. These are just a few things here, my friends. I could go on with a whole list of stuff here, as I have a whole page of them here, the things that show that you can go down and check off, and you can come back and say, and it's even got a checklist here, you know, 0 to 5, or I'm clean as a whistle. I don't do any of those things there. Or you only have up to 5 checked off. 6 to 10 means you're a social drinker, you know. And if you checked off 10 to 19 of them, then you're a coffee friend there. If you checked off 20 to 29, you're a chain smoker. If you checked off 30 to 39, you're a pothead. 40 to 49, you're a crackhead. And 50 of them, you're perma-fried. You know, so it goes down the list here and gives us some things, you know, that's very interesting to check against yourself and say, am I addicted to these digital apparatuses that we have that are in front of us every single day? And they're consuming more of our personal time and more of our control. And that's what it's all about, is that it takes our control away from us and gives it to them. And they say, sit down and watch my Facebook. Sit down and read my phone. Sit down and read my text. And we obey because we're addicted. Just as if it was a chemical that we were addicted to out here of some crack cocaine or whatever it might be. It is just that bad. And I come from a family that has some addictions, so I understand what that means very well, my friends. I really do. So here's what we want to do as we come to end this evening here. What can you do about this? Well, the very simple thing that you can do is, if you were to mark off several things, look at your life, decide, are you addicted? And if you are, where are you addicted at? Do you take it within the bathroom? Do you check it at the red light? Do you look at it when you're sitting out on a date even? As I said in another video, I listened to a TED talk of a doctor who was a sex therapist, and she was saying that 10% of people check their emails or their text messages while they're having sex. That's an addiction. Do you do that? If you do, my friends, what I want you to do is make a list of where you see these things at in your life, and then pick one of them out. Pick one, and if you really want to be brave, you really want to challenge yourself, and you're strong, then pick 2 or 3, but no more than 3. It's hard to handle 2 even. and go without them, without doing that act for a whole week. So far, everybody I've asked to even turn their cell phones off for half a day has failed. That I've asked personally, that are in my physical life, try this today, and they will not do it. This is how bad it is, my friends. And we really are addicted. And I realize that we have to use these things, but we need to be in control. We need to have control. And we talk about the people out there that are literally on a drug addiction. When what these instruments do to addict us is they cause our own mind to release a dopamine, a chemical that comes down into our body that says, oh, you feel good. This makes you feel good. Check another like. Did he like you over here? Did they reply to your email? Did they do all these things? Actually causes a chemical release in your brain so that you want to come back and do it again and again and again. Pick one. Pick one. Go without it for a week, my friends. See if you can do it. Challenge yourself, because once you gain back all your control of these things that have now created an addiction for you, then you can become a more productive person. You can become a more realistic human to be around with others. And when you see them doing the things that you have now quit, you're going to become annoyed with them. And this is what I would suggest you do there. Challenge them. Put that down. Turn it off. Quit doing that for a week. There's a time and place to do all those things, to use those things to make your life better, not be controlled by them or those who use them to get a hold of your time. My friends, thank you for joining me this evening. If you have found that this has been helpful and informative, if you will, please share this with other people who can use this information, and comment below if you will. And also, don't forget, subscribe to my channel here so that you won't miss any of the things that I'm able to share with you as I grow, as I learn these new things. I want to also bring the value of them to you. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time here on Baxter Cribs and Training with Baxter in Mindset and Marketing.